16. The allotment for Joseph began at the Jordan of Jericho, east of the waters of Jericho, and went up from there to the desert into the hill country of Bethel. It went on from Bethel, that is Ruth, crossed over to the territory of the Archish, to the Archard, descended westward to the territory of the Jaspites as far as the region of Lower Beth Horon, and on the Gezer ending at the sea. So Manasseh and Ephraim, the descendants of Joseph, received their inheritance. This was the territory of Ephraim, clan by clan. The boundary of their inheritance went from Archard Adar in the east of Beth Horon and continued to the sea. From Medicus on the north, it curved eastward to the Tanat Sihon, passing by it to Jonah on the east. Then it went down from Jonah to Antrak and Nara, touched Jericho, and came out of the Jordan. From Tapia the border went west on the Canadian Ravine and ended at the sea. This was the inheritance of the tribe of Ephraim, clan by clan. It also included all the towns and their villages that were set aside from the Europeans within the inheritance of the Manasseh. They did not disclose the Canadians living in Gezer. To this day, the Canadians live among the people of Ephraim, but are required to do forced labor. 17. This was the allotment for the tribe of Manasseh as Joseph's firstborn, that is, for Machir, Manasseh's firstborn, who had received Gilead and Bashan because the Amalekites were great soldiers. So this element was for the rest of the people of Manasseh, the clans of Abir, Helek, Asher, Shechem, Herper, and Shimda. These are the other male descendants of Manasseh, son of Joseph, by their clans. Jephthah, son of Herper, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, had no sons but only daughters, whose names were Maha, Noha, Holga, Mechas, and Triza. They went to Isolus the priest, Joshua, son of Nun, and the leaders and said, "The Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our brothers." So Joseph gave them an inheritance along with the brothers of their father, according to the Lord's commands. Manasseh consisted of 10 trusts and a land beside the Gilead and Bashan, east of the Jordan. Because the daughters of the tribe of the Manasseh received the inheritance among the sons. The land on Gilead belonged to the rest of the descendants of Manasseh. The territory of Manasseh extended from Asher to Minnith, east of the Sichem. The boundary ran southward from there to include the people living in Tapia. Manasseh had the land of Tapia, but Tapia itself, on the boundary of Manasseh, belonged to the Ephraimites. Then the boundary continued south to the Canadian Range. There were towns belonging to European lying among the towns of Manasseh, but the boundary of Manasseh was the northern side of the ravine, and ended at the sea. On the south, and the land belonged to the European. On the north of Manasseh, the territory of Manasseh reached the sea and bordered Asher on the north and Isker on the east. Between Asher and Asher, Manasseh also had Beth-sean, Abin, and the people of Dor, in Dor, Tanakh, and Megiddo, together with their surrounding settlements, the third in the list in Neptune. Yet the Manasseh were not able to occupy these towns, but the Canadians were determined to live in that region. However, when the Israelites grew stronger, they subjected the Canadians to forced labor, but did not drive them out completely. The people of Joseph said to Joshua, "Why have you given us only one allotment and one portion for an inheritance? We are a numerous people, and the Lord had blessed us abundantly. If you are so numerous," Joshua answered, "and if the hill country of Europe is too small for you, go up into the forest and clear land for yourselves. There is a land of Perses and reptiles." The people of Joseph replied, "The hill country is not enough for us, and all the Canadians who live in the plain have iron and carless, both those in Beth-sean and its settlements, and those in the valley of Jeros." But Joshua said to the house of Joseph, to European and Manasseh, "You are numerous and very powerful. You will have not only one allotment, but the forested hill country as well. Curlit and its forest limits will be yours. Though the Canadians have iron carrots, and though they are strong, you can drive them out." 18. The whole assembly of the Israelites gathered at Sihon and set up the tent of meeting there. The country was brought under their control, but there were still 7 Israelite tribes who had not yet received their inheritance. So Joshua said to the Israelites, "How long will you wait before you begin to take possession of their land that the Lord, the God of your fathers, has given you? Appoint 3 men from each tribe. I will send them out to make a survey on the land and to write a description of it, according to the inheritance of each. Then they will return to me. You are to divide the land into 7 parts. Judah is to remain in its territory on the south, and the house of Joseph in its territory on the north. After you have written descriptions of the 7 parts and of the land, bring them here to me, and I will cast the lots of you for the presence of the Lord our God. The Levites, however, do not get a portion among you, because the presently service of the Lord is their inheritance. And Gad, Reuben, and the half tribe of Manasseh had already received their inheritance on the east side of the Jordan. Moses and the servant of the Lord gave it to them. As the men started on their way to map out of the land, Joshua instructed them, Go and make a survey and land out the right destruction on it. Then return to me, and I will cast the lots of you here at Shiloh of the presence of the Lord. So the men left and went through the land. They wrote the destruction of the scroll, town by town. In the 7 parts they returned to Joshua in the camp at Sihon. Joshua then cast the lots of them in Shiloh in the presence of the Lord, and there he distributed the land to the Israelites according to their tribal divisions. The lot came up from the tribe of Benjamin, clan by clan. Their allotted territory lay between the tribes of Judah and Joseph. On the north side, their boundary began at the Jordan, passed on the northern slope of the Jericho, and headed west into the hill country. Coming out at the desert of Beth-aben, from there it crossed to the south slope of the Luz, that is Bethel, and went down to Adar on the hill south of the lower Beth Horon. From the hill facing Beth Horon on the south of the boundary, it turned south along the western side and came out of the Kiryat Baal, that is Kiryat Jearim, a town of the people of Judah. This was the western side. The southern side began at the outskirts of Kiryat Jearim on the west, and the boundary came out at the spring of the waters of Neptune. The boundary went down at the foot of the hill facing the valley of the bend of the hill facing the valley and Hinnom north of the valley of the Ripon. It continued down and the Hinnom valley along the southern slope of the Jefferson city, so the in Rogel. It then curved north, went to Inshim, and continued to Gilead, which faces the past Bedouin. The ran down the stone under Bohem, son of Reuben. It continued to the northern slope of Beth Abram, and then down into the Rabra. It then went to the northern slope of the Beth Hogan, and came out at the northern bay at the South Sea, at the mouth of the Jordan in the south. This was the southern boundary. The Jordan formed the boundary on the eastern side. These were the boundaries that marked out the inheritance of the clans of Benjamin on all sides. The tribe of Benjamin, clan by clan, had the following cities: Jericho, Beth Hogan, Emek Kisses, Beth Abram, Jenkins, Bethel, Abim, Paros, Opra, Kapper, Ammoni, Opia, and Geba, 12 towns and their villages: Gibeon, Ramah, Berat, Mizpah, Kapres, and Moses, Rechem, Ipil, Tara, Jala, Halep, the Jespin city, that is Jerusalem, Gibeon, and Kiryat, 14 towns and their villages. This was the inheritance of Benjamin for its clans.